3 days in, when we slipped behind the record so far that it wasn't attainable, my mate Kai we stopped at like maybe 5 p.m. We'd been on the road for 10 or 12 hours more, and stopped for like a toilet break, and I'm sort of walking back to the car, and he says to me like, so I reckon next time when we try it, like, we'll I'm like, hang on, we've got like 3,000 kilometers to go still, and like, and they're already talking about a reattempt date, and 100% they're locked in to go again. So.
What's going on, everybody? My name is JP, and I want to welcome you into the Stable Cyclist podcast, where we talk about bikes, life experiences, and when the occasion arises, we'll deep dive into mental health. And I think we're going to check all three of those boxes in an amazing conversation with Brendan Johnston this week. I would say this is a top 5 favorite conversation I have had so far on the podcast, and we are almost to 100 episodes, which is really exciting and really incredible to me. My community question last week tipped off the largest response we have ever had on the show. Over 100 responses across the various platforms. I asked you, are you into road or mountain bike pedals, or road or mountain bike shoes? And if there are 90+% of you that listen or watch this show that are men, then 97% of that group is into mountain bike shoes and pedals, and myself included. I just think they're way easier to deal with. I, of course, love road shoes, but when you're on and off a bunch in certain races, especially the more adventurous gravel races of today, mountain bike shoes, it is. So that's what the general public seems to be rolling. My question this week again comes from our very simple random fire section, and that is bell or yell when you come up behind somebody. Are you belling or are you yelling? Hit it in the comments on YouTube and Spotify, or you can send me a DM at The Stable Cyclist on Instagram, or you can email us, thestablecyclist@gmail.com, and I look forward to reading all those answers. Now, Stable Silka 15 is the discount code that you want to be using if you head over to silka.cc. It is an incredible product that they make, and the only advertisement that I can really give you is personal testimony. I have one of their world-famous pumps sitting behind me. It is incredible. I used their wax system that you can also see behind me if you're watching on YouTube. I use that all the time, but when I did the longest race last year that I did, which was a 12-hour ultra, the Matahe 100, I used a wax chain, and eventually, when the conditions got too rough for that, we switched over to the Silka Synergetic oil, and it was a lifesaver for us. No drivetrain problems whatsoever. And of course, all the time in my tires is Silka's sealant over the last 3 years that they have been supporting me. And if we're going to talk about a company that supports mental health advocacy and mental health in the gravel and mountain bike world, Silka is near the front of the line in that. So head over to silka.cc, use the code STABLECYLKA15 to get a discount on those goodies for your bike. All right, that's a lot of sponsored talk. That's a lot of question talk. You're here from Brendan Johnston, so let's get him into the studio. Well, Brendan Johnston, welcome to the Stable Cyclist podcast. It is awesome to have you here, man. Welcome.
Thanks. Yeah, first Australian, I believe, which is, I get that a bit on American podcasts.
Well, there's not a lot of Oceania riders in the LifeTime Grand Prix, so yeah, you're kind of leading the way.
There's not, but I'm not actually leading the way of the Oceania riders. Literally, we have obviously Cam Jones.
Yes, obviously that's true.
Leads the way as the Oceania. He's definitely leading the way. But we have Lachlan, who's like kind of Australian, I guess.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, and on the women's side, there's Samara. Is that how I pronounce her name? Samara? She's from New Zealand, is that right?
Samara, yeah. She's from New Zealand, but she lives in Australia.
Okay. Yeah, she is She's on the docket to be on the show here eventually. So, yeah, man.
Oh
Well,
yeah,
you've
she's
had
cool.
a wild off season this year, or a notable off season, I guess, going after the Perth to Sydney record, and we're going to obviously get into that a lot. But I always kind of start with just how do we get into cycling, and how do we? I guess for you, how do you go from being super mountain bike guy or known as a mountain bike guy to you end up in the Grand Prix? And I've heard you tell that story in like a very truncated way on a couple of the shows, so I know you can do it here too.
Yeah, I mean, look, I started out as a mountain biker and sort of I don't know got into like the World Cup stuff a little bit. I wanted to try and go to the Olympics, but um, from down under, it's challenging to like do that. That's a challenging route,
Yeah.
and there's only a few that have been successful in like breaking through and finding their way there. And I wasn't one of them. So I kind of like reassessed and just decided to like knuckle down and with work and a business and kind of race alongside doing all that and sort of made a little bit of a side gig going here in Australia. We had like some good series that came and went, like marathon series
Yeah.
and like stage race series that were eventually purchased by Ironman. So there was like a pretty solid 3 race series here of stage racing, and then it sort of morphed into like a pairs racing thing. And honestly, we just had really good luck or just good success there, and kind of built a bit of a brand, I guess. And um, alongside that, I was racing on the road a little bit where I wanted to, like just races that I wanted to do. And then I guess kind of like the Grand Prix came along, and I felt like this is my time to go all in, and this should suit me pretty well. And as it turns out, it's kind of gone as I would have hoped or as I planned.
Yeah. Yeah. Uh, you had kind of a bump in the road when you were around 17 years old. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. It's just it's a tough period for me. Like
Yeah.
all I knew, I guess, was riding my bike and racing as a healthy, like fit teenager, and um, sort of all I knew and all I was planning to do. And I obviously was diagnosed with cancer at 17 years old last year of high school, and it sort of reframed my next, the rest of my life, but certainly the
Yeah.
next few years and how that kind of played out. But no, definitely a challenging period, challenging 2 years, I guess, of from go to woe of like being diagnosed to being sort of, I guess, healthy again. But yeah, it was a traumatic period, and still sort of haunts
Sure.
me to this day, I would say.
Yeah. How did you said you were a junior in high school or a year left, and how hard was moving through that time, or were you just I sense from your personality you're like very workman and head down and get the job done, and is that kind of how you approached that as well, or were you kind of aware that like this isn't what I should be doing as a junior or senior in high school?
Yeah, I mean, at the time, I think like I just wanted it to be over, like, and so whatever the process was that was gonna heal me and like rid me of that disease and whatever I had to do, it was just a matter of like doing that, um, and getting it done and then moving on, kind of forgetting about it. I guess it's like not what you want to be doing at
Yeah.
that age. Like I mean, I don't know, it's not the right word, but it was like a bit shameful. Like it was hard to live with that
Yeah.
disease and also live with the treatment that I was having. It was really hard to live as a 17, 18-year old. Like, so for me, while I knew I was like not being able to live life to its fullest, it was just like, let's get this done and really move on and then move on to the next thing. And I think like that kind of resulted in, I mean, later down the track, like more
Yeah.
recently, some sort of post-traumatic stress around that, because I think at that age you're just not equipped to like fully process stuff. And
Yeah.
yeah, I even still like found myself kind of, it's a funny disease because yeah, like you can be cured, but obviously recurrence is a whole thing. And like you've, for me personally, I found myself kind of running from it, um, even to this day, in a way. So I think like, yeah, it took a toll later on, but I think like, I don't know, I was just too young to properly process something like that, and I wasn't equipped. It wasn't that I didn't have good support; it was just that
Mm-hmm.
my maturity was not at a level to like, deal with that properly.
Sure. Sure. We're going to dig more into that later as we get into the rest of your story. But you mentioned that you got into being more of like a worker, not necessarily a bike racer. Bike racing became on the side, and you had a business. Tell me what that was like. Tell me what you were doing and kind of what trade you were working in.
Yeah, so like, I guess straight after I finished all that cancer treatment and stuff, I was pretty slow to get riding again, and obviously I had to do something. So I worked with a guy just doing electrical, like specifically solar PV installations, and pretty soon after that, he like offered me an apprenticeship, and I was in this mode of like, after that disease, I was like, very conscious of healthy, a healthy body, and being an athlete is something you obviously need that for. And I guess I was very like in tune with how quickly that could be compromised or like taken
Yeah.
away. So in my
Yeah.
mind, I was just like, right, I need to like cover all these boxes off as soon as I can. So like, yeah, I got a trade, so apprenticeship as an electrician, and went into business with that same guy and did like 11 years of that. As an electrician, we had up to like 8 or 9 employees at one point, and but yeah, I mean that was also hard. Like it was busy, very busy, and I was trying to train 20 hours a week, and um, just trying to do everything, as full gas as I could, because I was in this like hyper living kind of mode. And
Yeah.
yeah, it was certainly a busy time. And then I had we had a daughter with my partner at the time, and yeah, things just got out of hand a little bit. But yeah, it was definitely a busy period.
And were you, as far as like in your cycling arc, are you in the Grand Prix already by the end of this time period, or did that come later?
No,
And I
so I
guess
finished.
I guess how do we get to the Grand Prix?
Yeah, so I got like 10 years in or so, and at that point in Australia, if you work in for the same company for 10 years, you get what's called long service leave. It's like a 3 month paid period, and I basically got kind of tired of the work I was doing. It was very like labor intensive, and I just wanted to change. And so I decided that in that following year, I think it was 2022, I was like, I'm gonna take these 3 months off. I'm gonna train for road nationals, because I think the year before that I was like third there. So I thought, like, I'll take this leave, train for 3 months, try and have a really good road nationals, just see how good I can go. Not with any real aspirations, just to like give it a crack while I had some time to train properly. And then kind of that was like, I guess August or something, and I was like, well, I know the Grand Prix applications are open. I'll just apply, and maybe see how we go there. I like kind of knew some Americans, and through Giant I knew a bit more about the process. And as I sort of got more serious about it, I was like, thought I had a pretty good shot of getting in. And then obviously then I had to like think about how that was going to work, and yeah, try and get the budget, and like try and work out what the next 12 months would look like. And so yeah, I raced road nationals. I think I can't even remember how I went. Not that good. But and then I'd like been selected for the Grand Prix, and I was kind of like, well, yeah, okay, try and work that out and see if we can like get over there for enough rounds to get enough points for like season. And I kind of got to work to that.
How challenging is it for you with the logistic piece of the Grand Prix? Because I think it's challenging enough for people who live in America, but if you're coming from not America, and especially on the opposite side of the world, it has to be a nightmare trying to sort it all out. So what is it like for you to, or maybe that's changed since you started?
Yeah, it's changed for sure now. Like, but I guess the first year I went, I was invested, and I did invest literally to make it happen. And in my mind, it was a matter of going for the first year, being good enough, and then trying to like sign some better deals for the following year and go back. Like I was never just going to try it out. I was going because I'd made this switch in my life, and I had made a decision, like obviously have a daughter. I'd made the decision to, make a career of this, and like I've done with kind of everything I do is like I was kind of all in, and I wasn't going to go sort of half-assed and like not put my best effort. And like I was obviously away from my daughter doing that, and I was like I have to make this work. And this is I'm going for this year, and like I'm spending a lot of money, and like it just has to work out. And it was touch and go. Like the first year, actually like mid-season was going really poorly, and then I managed to like turn it around, and then by the end of the year I was going really well, and it all kind of worked out. And then the following year was like a bit nicer, still like maybe just covering costs, like and then from then it's like it's really a lot easier now. But it was a matter of like spending a lot of money the first year, kind of breaking even the next year, and then finally I'm in a good spot now. But it's not without like great. So we have Giant there, obviously, who I've been with for many years, and like have looked after me in the US since I started going there. And then obviously friends, and then now Melissa, who lives in Utah and also in the Grand Prix. My girlfriend is I'm able to stay with Eldon and Elisa, her parents as well, when we're in Utah. And like she has a lot of friends as well, so it's awesome to like have a bit more of a community now there. And I'm very grateful for that, because like it is a long way from home. And like you say, it's stressful, and I have a 5.5-year-old daughter here who I want to see as much as I can. So it's not a matter of me packing up in like March and heading there for the year. It's more like I think last year I did 5 trips between Oz and the US. So it's, but like that's my choice, So I don't go there thinking like, oh, I'm on the back foot, no one else has had to travel as much as I have. It's sort of like I'm fine with that being my choice. And it's an awesome career, and like while I can do it, I'm going to do it, and try and make the most of it. And just try and never let that kind of get to me, or put that forward as any kind of excuse. It's just how it is, and I think I'm good at managing it now. So
even so, I look at this past year, and you definitely had some ups and downs as well there too. I know there was as close as it was late, there was a chance that things could even totally fall your way late in the year, and you ended up 9th overall. But what was this past season like for you, just moving through how competitive it was, and therefore you moved, very high in the rankings at some points, and then where you ended up finishing?
Yeah, it was like sort of my worst and best season yet. At the same time, like started really well with like 5th at Sea Otter, and then 5th at Unbound. Unbound was my big goal for the year, so I put a lot into that, and to kind of even to come close to a goal like that and a race like that where so much has to go right was
absolutely
a success, because you can say, oh, I want to win Unbound, and then you finish 30th, and
Yeah.
because things go wrong or whatever happens. But to say you want to be unbound, then you finish 5th, well, you're on the right track. And
Yeah.
so I think really good start. I think in the first 6 months of my year, I raced maybe 7 or 8 times, and I wasn't off the podium once. So it was a really clean, nice start to the year. And then we put a lot into Leadville. So Melissa obviously goes really good at Leadville, and I kind of jumped on her. Preparation trained for that, and we were up there for a month before the race, and we both obviously put a lot in, and for me, blew a wheel up on the power line descent, and it was just sort of disaster. So that, I guess, those investments in terms of time and effort, obviously it's hard to be up at that altitude and train for that long, and you're compromising a lot of things. You're not training really for anything else because you're up there. It's very specific. You're training at lesser capacity than you would be if you were at sea level or somewhere else. So you're kind of all in for that race, and for what happened there to unfold like that was quite devastating. But still, I was dropped that race. I was in a really good place, and then Schwamigan, I was on the podium there in 3rd, and that was a really good step in the right direction. And I think I was right there in the points, 4th or 3rd, I think, heading into the last 2, Little and Big Sugar. And then same thing, we went to Bentonville for 5 weeks, I think, before the race, and just spent every single day on the course pretty much. I think we were both kind of Melissa and I were pretty, quietly thinking a lot about the last season, and it being a good chance to really have a good year. And I mean, she had a great year the year before too, and I think I was 4th or the year before. But I think it was sort of we figured if we put a bit more in to specific races and spent more time at these places and put more into the course knowledge and that kind of thing, and the setup as well, especially for the races in Bentonville, we would be in a good place. And in Little Sugar I was 4th or 5th, I think, and just completely tore my tire to pieces in what's the ledges section, so not 20 or 30k to go in the race, and I was in a really good spot and happy with it. And I think had I finished around there, I would have been in that final fight on the following weekend with Big Sugar. So it kind of all unraveled, really unfortunately. I was sort of back in the back seat, kind of quietly achieving and sitting really nicely in the points, and then it sort of all fell apart. And then even the way that last day of this season unfolded with Big Sugar, and the race being changed I think I found out with 5 minutes before the start. It was chaotic, and so then I punched it 3 times in that because I was it was just a disastrous day. So it ended up being my worst season in the Grand Prix yet. But I think I had some really, really good moments.
Yeah. And you still have to feel, I mean, the closest that I got to see you in the film work I was doing was at Gravel Worlds. And everything you just described kind of played out that day in the same way, where you were in the lead group and all of a sudden you very much weren't. But you still got 7th, I think, that day, and had a good day. You just had some bad luck late. And so you still have to feel like it was a pretty good season, I would think, given that how you performed overall. You just had bad luck at a couple weird times.
Yeah, and that's that is part of this off-road racing. And I'm so aware of that now. I mean, I have been, while only full-time now for 3 or 4 years, I think I've been at it for my whole life. So I'm very aware of how the game works, and it doesn't beat me down. It definitely does at the time, and it takes some regrouping just to get past that, investment of time and energy into certain things. But it doesn't it doesn't jade my view of the sport or my sort of progress moving forward. I know what I'm capable of.
Sure.
Like even that day at Gravel Worlds, I think that race was going to be was going to really be good for me. That's why I had to stay an extra 2 weeks in the States, because there's a sort of small gap between Leadville and
Yep.
Trombigan. And I made it even smaller by going out there to do that, because I figured it was going to be a good race for me. So then, we went out there, and I was having a really good day, and just like found myself in good positions, and we pretty much, like, it's quite a long race, and the first part was chaotic, like the first half, say.
Yeah.
With all the mud and stuff, and then everyone was like, oh, okay, we got like a good front group, and we're pretty like complacent, and kind of, I guess, forgot about any kind of, or I guess the weather that we had over the night before. And I was like, I mean, I generally ride pretty good position. I was second wheel behind Tobin, and we just entered like this more like covered in trees area, and it was just some random corner that just like came up, and it was muddy, and he like almost crashed. I crashed, like two guys behind me crashed. But I like crashed onto my derailleur, and it like fully bent it. So it took me forever to like get going again. So it was just like, like, I don't know, but like that was basically the season in a nutshell. Day, like you said.
Stable Cyclist Podcast is brought to you by Ignition Coach Co. And my guess is if you ask around the gravel peloton at a race or the mountain bike starting line of what the best coaching companies available are today, that Ignition Coach Co. will be near the front of the list or at the even very tippy top. And that's because what Drew Dillman and Dylan Johnston have designed there and what they are doing is incredible. You may have listened to the Ignition Coach Co. pod. It is, of course, hosted by Adam Sabin. And Adam is my coach, and he has served as my coach the past 3 years, and we are actually going into year number 4 working together. And we have some really exciting stuff cooking that I can't wait to tell you all about later. But what I will say about Adam is that he really helped kind of give me balance in my life. I am totally capable, with my experience in coaching and my experience in the endurance world, of coaching myself and writing my own training. But to be totally honest, with 5 kids and a very busy job, plus this film company that I run on the side, I am just too busy to give it a lot of thought, and I don't have the mental energy. And so Adam really helped me do a better job with that and with my training. And last year he helped me cut almost an hour and a half off my previous best at the Mattahay 100, one of the most rugged mountain bike races in the United States. And like I said, we are cooking up something again for this year, and I'm racing more than I ever have in my life. And a big reason for that is that I have a whole lot more bandwidth. And if you are interested in joining with Ignition Coach Co., if you are interested in hiring a coach and working with someone there, I have extra good news. When you go to their website, ignitioncoachco.com, there will be an opportunity for you to fill out a Google form, and they have a discount code available in there. And you can use the code StableCyclist100 to get $100 off of your first month of coaching with them. And I know they're going to find you a coach and match you up with the best possible person for what you're trying to do. I work with Adam because he's really good in the mountain bike world. And while I know Drew and I know Dylan and I know Trey Shepard, they're really good at other areas and other disciplines, and I'm very focused on long distance mountain bike stuff. And so Adam was the best fit. So head over to ignitioncoachco.com and get yourself signed up and at least get a consultation about how this could change what your training looks like. All right, back to the interview. Well, you said you were kind of sitting in the back seat, like working on things throughout the year. Sitting in the back seat with you was this idea of, I'm going to ride my bike from Perth to Sydney. And I think, like, in my real job that I do, I'm a teacher and I teach geography. And I always tell kids, I'm like, Australia is so much bigger than you can even believe. And Perth to Sydney is a huge voyage. So how did you start cooking this up? And how did you decide that finally this is the year you were going to do it?
Yeah, it's a good question. Like, I thought about it many, many years ago, and I've always wanted to do it. But yeah, it was challenging because, I mean, I haven't done anything like that before. I wasn't sure the toll it was going to take on my body. And, you know, my real job is, racing. And that is from April till the end of October, essentially, or
Yes.
even further into the year. And finding a period of time where I can take, put my body through that kind of an event, like at its shortest, it was going to be 6.5 days. And it ended up being longer. Uh,
Sure.
it was just finding a time and like finding myself with the energy to actually get it off the ground and get the budget and get very generous people to come along and with me and help me take it on. So yeah, I just sort of like felt, I didn't want to do it before I was established in the US. I think that was a priority. I wanted to like be established there and have like some really solid contracts and like know that I've got a job essentially for a bit and not like derail it by doing some crazy ride
Sure.
across the country that really doesn't result in much at all in terms of like gigs moving forward. So yeah, it just felt like the right time. And managed to like get a crew going and bring some existing sponsors into the fold to like chip in a little more and bring some new ones on with the help of my agency. And like we kind of got it going really good. It exceeded my expectations on every front, in terms of like it's just every level. The organizing was way more than I thought it was going to be. Logistics, I had a lot of
Of
help, but
course.
it was still insane. The budget I needed also exceeded my expectations, and the fatigue, the absolute bond that the crew and I like built out there, the
Yeah.
landscape, everything was just like way above what I had expected it to get out of it. So yeah, it was. I chose January, and that's when I just locked in this date, the 10th of January, and a time, 1 a.m. on the 10th of January, and that was in my mind from. I think I started talking about it, seriously in maybe February last year, so about a year's lead time to actually lock it all down.
Yeah. So you called it was Perth to Sydney, and you called it PTSD, and there was a lot deeper meaning in that you kind of alluded to earlier. And so, like, I want to know, when you first realized, like, I have this issue going back to from when I had cancer that I haven't really dealt with. I heard you say in a different podcast, you said, I wasn't coping so well dealing with it. But when did you first start to realize, like, this is a problem? And then I guess how you said, I still continue to deal with this. And I tell that to people too. I'm very open. I have bipolar disorder. And I tell people, I'm always going to have bipolar disorder. I just deal with it better now than before I started getting treatment. So how did you kind of start to work through, the PTSD of having cancer as a teenager, and then moving into like, I'm going to actually talk about this, because that's a huge step for people to take.
Yeah, I mean, it took me 10 years to even realize that. I mean, I was working in a trade, like, and that culture here is really, I don't know, like, negative, or and the people I worked with, we would laugh about depression, and that was like I was young when I started in that industry, I guess, or the trade industry, and like it was something that I was like never felt I was enabled to actually feel, like I think
Yeah.
because through just culture and um, that would be kind of made fun of, or like you're not depressed, you're just like a bit of a pussy or something, and that
Yeah.
was like what
Yeah.
what I kind of grew up thinking. And it's sort of like once I kind of started to find myself like not enjoying that industry, and for the reasons like that, and then I just really, I think like out of COVID maybe I sort of just struggled a bit more with identity and like, yeah, had I, all these decisions up to this point in my life were rushed because I was essentially running from this disease that, I was
Yeah.
somewhat cured from. But every time I had some kind of health problem, I would spiral and
Sure.
um, be really, really concerned about it. And I had like a lot of problems with, if anyone like, or any funeral or any like, I'd spent a lot of my life like in that post period, like thinking about my own funeral and
Yeah.
so I think like I just had this fear of that disease like catching up with me, and I felt like I was always running from it, and um, I'd sort of rushed on with my life afterwards, and yeah, kind of got a bit went down a bit of a rabbit hole for a while, and yeah, like a marriage separation, which was really I found really hard, and like
Yeah.
just a whole period that was really unsettling, and yeah, found myself in some pretty dark. Like I think I was having success, like racing, and a lot of people, I guess, looked to what I was doing and maybe thought it was all roses, and like
Of course. Yeah.
he's I guess living his dream, but like behind the scenes, like I was having these, when I'd be back here, or if I was away and alone, like away from my daughter, and yeah, I would spiral and like find myself, yeah, really in trouble and making like really bad decisions. So I think, yeah, it was at that point that I was like, um, yeah, if not for myself, then like for my daughter, I need to combat, where my head's at, and make sure that I'm in a space where I can, yeah, keep striving and keep being a good role model. And like I know
Yeah.
that's not my um, that's not me. I think I can be a really good role model, and I think I just had to get back on track and like yeah, find out, and try and combat some of that post traumatic. And I think like obviously trauma is so many different. You can experience so much different
Yeah.
trauma, and I think it's good to like just think about that for people, and everyone has their own shit going on, and I think I've
Yeah.
really matured in that sense, and realizing and being compassionate for others who have had a hard time and have had to kind of deal with the ramifications of that. So yeah, I got some help and like really identified, where things had gone wrong, and yeah, and then like for me, the thing with doing these epic challenges, and I think that goes for when I say epic challenges, it's even like me racing in the US or me doing the lifetime where I'm bound or whatever. Just like anyone else who signs up for that sort of stuff, it's like, the reason you're doing that is to challenge yourself. And I think
Yeah.
personally, that's when I find out the most about myself. Like through that cancer treatment, that's when I learned the most about myself at such a young age. And I think like, now I can choose to challenge myself, and that's a privilege. And that's when
Yeah.
I was so intrigued with this ride across Australia that I was just intrigued. I think initially I was drawn to it, and I thought, oh yeah, it'd be cool to break the record. But really, I think I just wanted to go out there and take myself to the limits and beyond, and then work out how to get back. And I think that is like so valuable in like in yeah, and you can take that forward the rest of your life. Like those, and it doesn't have to be like a 4,000 kilometer ride. For
Yeah. Yeah.
it's relative to
Yeah.
what is a challenge for you. But yeah, for me that was something that I was just like, I'm so intrigued to find out like where my head goes, or and what I can learn from those places. And 100% like it was a success in that, that form.
Absolutely. I just because I'm curious about the timeline. So, were you kind of falling apart while you were already in the Grand Prix, if early in the early years?
Yeah, so the first year, I guess around the time I like stopped working,
Mm-hmm.
um, was yeah, and then I kind of lost a lot of support from, yeah, family and stuff, because I think it being a little, I don't know, maybe a bit of a conservative environment that I grew up in, and it seemed quite radical to like stopped working as an electrician and having this grounded job with all this thing set up,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
and go and race your bike and spend 30, 40, $50,000 to do it. It's like, I guess it's a little crazy, but like, I think a lot of people forgot that I kind of missed that chance when I was
Yeah.
growing up. And, um, I have a talent, like some talent, some level of talent. I've had good success racing my whole life, in wherever I've sort of done it. So like, just why not have a crack and see? And I think like, yeah, the judgment around that as well was hard. And, um, and then you're second guessing like what you're doing. Have I done the right thing? Am I stupid or am I crazy? And I think that first year, I was living in Colorado Springs. Very fortunate with a Australian friend that was on a posting there. Friends of mine, and then I lived there. But friends of friends of theirs actually had a house in Colorado Springs that was vacant for the summer because they'd go to away, and
Sure. Sure.
it was awesome. Like I got this awesome house on the hill in Colorado Springs, and perfect for training. But I was quite isolated. I didn't
Yeah.
have a car for the first bit. I ended up buying one, a sweet Escalade, and but as it was like unraveling and I was not performing, like this same thing happened. Like the start of the season was good, and then when we got to the altitude races, I just like, and then training at altitude and that kind of stuff, it just really unraveled. And I think I was like in one of the races in the middle of the year, I was like 35th place or something, and it was stressful because it was sort of like, well, everyone like who said I shouldn't, like, this is crazy, like you're not gonna, like, what are you doing? I
Yeah.
was like, maybe they're right, like
Yeah.
what have I done? I'm over here basically spending money and not really moving forward, or not securing the things I wanted to, and like not having that success. And there's a lot of like doubt around that, and second guessing. And so that first year was a challenge, and then the one that followed, personally, a lot more stress. And that's kind of it's kind of going on until, well, it's still happening. but
Sure.
but we're making small steps and like trying to
Yeah.
trying to work things out. And I'm I'm able now to like enjoy my time here as much as I can with my daughter, and we have an awesome time. And then also enjoy when I'm away racing, and be able
Yeah.
to like enjoy that as a real job. And absolutely like lap up that lifestyle, because it's a massive privilege to, my
Yeah.
days here are thankfully I just have to ride my bike, and I can take my daughter to school and pick her up at 3 o'clock. And it's an awesome lifestyle. And I think while ever I've got the ability to do it, and the fitness and the body, like I'm letting myself now actually lean into that and
Yeah.
enjoy it, rather than like feel the stress of judgment or
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, and the reason I asked the timeline piece is because I think most people would look at you in the early years of the Grand Prix and just be like, he's just working through the kinks of coming here and doing this. And it's why I always tell people, like, just check in on people around you, because you don't know how they're really doing, and they might be having a really terrible time. And if you don't check in on them, they're just lonely. And so,
Yeah.
it's just, I'm really glad you survived that all and that you're making progress. You mentioned you do have some good people around you right now, and they were part of your support for this. I think I saw that you had 6 or 7 people on your crew during this adventure supporting you across Australia. I had a big ultra this summer where I had a film crew basically made up of my friends, and so I got to have a similar experience with the people that were really close to me supporting me. And so for you, what was that like to have them as your support crew versus just some randoms that were with helping you?
Yeah. It was humbling. It was the feeling of that care, and they're like, it wasn't that I asked them to be there. They wanted to be there, and that was just, like I say, I say it exceeded my expectations. Like the way that group of people like got around me and got around each other was just so insightful and so, I don't even know how to describe it, but yeah, I think when I wrote a message to them after that, after we finished, and I said like something like, I didn't just need hands like people to help, hands on the ground. I needed faces, right? I needed
Yeah.
I needed people's faces that I knew I could look at and put some of that suffering at bay. And 100% that's what I got. And the way that, like, no one sort of like, we are producing a video on the whole thing, and but no one who wasn't there is going to be able to see or feel like how it felt
Yeah.
in the very early mornings or the very late nights, or just, and like if you've done, like you say, you've done something like this, it's just you're on that personal quest to like find your own limits, but you've got people there who are right there with you. And you, like, for me, I need that. I think unsupported stuff is not for me yet, at least.
Yeah.
But having that crew there on the ground, made up, Melissa, my girlfriend, very close friends, um, just like a friend from school who
Yeah.
was literally by my side when I was diagnosed with cancer, and he's been in the background ever since, and we reconnected really closely around this. He's my physio, and my friend Sean, who was in the US with me the first 2 years, he was living there and helped me out a lot. And just to like, yeah, it's to have those people there, and the rest of them, yeah, it was just amazing. And like, I couldn't imagine how it went and how it was going to go, and it just like, it was so awesome, and like hectic for them.
Yeah.
They were so wrecked by the end of the week. We went 2 days longer than what we planned, and like in the days after, it was sort of like, I mean, I mean, 3 days in, when we slipped behind the record so far that it wasn't attainable, my mate Kai we stopped at like maybe 5 p.m. We'd been on the road for 10 or 12 hours more, and stopped for like a toilet break, and I'm sort of walking back to the car, and he says to me like, so I reckon next time when we try it, like, we'll I'm like, hang on, we've got like 3,000 kilometers to go still, and like, and they're already talking about a reattempt date, and 100% they're locked in to go again. So I think, yeah, if you have the opportunity to be involved in something like that, some kind of epic quest as a rider or a support, I think it's something you'll never forget, if they're good people and they're people that you care about. So yeah, would recommend.
Yeah. You have talked a lot about your daughter, and your passion for her is so evident. The listenership of this podcast is like 90% men between the ages of like 25 and 55, which means there's a ton of dads listening. I have 5 kids myself. I always love to talk to other dads about, how do you do this? Because I'm not sure I know what the hell I'm doing yet. And you seem to be very intentional because of limited time, because of what your job calls you to do. And so I guess my question is, how do you be intentional? How do you spend intentional time with your kid so that you make sure that, like, when I am here, I'm present?
Yeah, it's a hard gig, and both like good and bad. Obviously, like I say, when I'm here in the summer, or when I'm back in during the season, I have like pretty good time to to give to her, and certainly much more than I did when I was working a lot and training. And that was not a model that was very good for that, because I was prioritizing everything I wanted to do. Before work it was training, after work it was training and or more work. And like, where does she sort of fit into that? So I guess in essence it started with me, like, remodeling how I lived and my job. And like, fortunately, some things went right for me and I was able to have this job as a professional cyclist. But I think, like, you can tailor your own job as well. You just have to make good calls and just make that time. Like, it's hard. Like, obviously people want to, have great jobs and earn a lot of money and, like, set up and everything. But yeah, if anything, I like have been really, it's been easy to see the way that, when I have time here at home, I'm really, like, motivated to make sure we do something together every time we can. Like, I never don't do something. If it's after school, we go and do something, a bike ride, go swimming, or go to the park. It's just like, I always put a little activity in, because there's moments when I'm away where I really, really miss her, and I would be so desperate to, like, be able to take her to the park or be able to take her on the bike. So I think I'm always, like, so mindful of making sure that we do a little activity, whatever it is. And sometimes I just ask her, like, what is it that you want to do? Do you want to wax a chain with me, or do you want to like, and whatever she wants to do, I just, like, give her that time. I don't shut it down. And I just try and make sure that we do some kind of activity, whether it's something I suggest or something she puts forward. And obviously I only have one, so it's not five. It's a bit different, but I mean, as any parent will know, and father, it's just the best. It's the best thing. Like, so it's pretty easy, but I can see how, like, when you're in the grind, you just sort of forget, or you don't prioritize those moments. And I don't know, it's taught me to do that for sure. Like, I'm not saying go and get a job in a different country for sure, but I've been able to, and I like to tell her and explain what I'm doing. Like, she actually came the first year I went. She came for a few months to the US, and she, to this day, remembers intricate little details of that trip, which to me is insane. But it's, like, so nice to hear that experience, and she listens to things that I tell her. Like, the other day, she came home and said, like, "Oh, Dad, we had you on the big screen at school." She started kindergarten 2 weeks ago, and she said, "Oh, I saw you on the big screen." I'm like, "What do you mean?" And she's like, "Oh, well, I told my teacher that you rode from Perth to Sydney, and she should, like, Google it." And she just put, like, Googled, like, me or whatever, and found some videos and whatnot, and like that. To hear that as a father, and you to hear that your daughter is that proud of you, that she wants to tell people about you, is just like, that's part of the reason why I don't take the foot off the gas, and why I want to keep striving to do cool shit, and tell her about it, and show her that these things are possible. Like, you can kind of make your own adventure if you just try it out, and you try it for size, and try and find your way. And I think she's slowly, she's young, but she's slowly seeing, that it's cool to do those things. And like I say, to hear that she's that proud, she wants to tell her friends and a teacher about me, is like, oh man, it's, how, like, if you're a father or parent, it's like, it's just what you want. Like, it's just what you want to hear from. So
awesome. So normally at this point in the interview, we would lighten things up with a lot of random fire questions, but you have got to go pick up your daughter in a little bit, so we've got a smaller window of time here than normal. So I'm just going to shrink our random fire list down a little bit. and we'll throw some out, and maybe if we connect at a race or something this year, we'll get the rest of them. But
Yeah.
we're going to talk music first here. Dylan Johnston was on a few weeks ago, and he said there's a song that he listens to that he believes gives him 10 extra watts. Do you have a song like this in your arsenal?
No, not a specific song. I mean, did he tell you what it was? I know he listens to some like rogue shit.
The song was "I'm Back" by Eminem, and he's like, "It
Yeah,
gives me
okay.
10 watts for sure."
I could see. I mean, maybe not 10 watts, maybe like 1 or 2. But yeah, Eminem. I'm on some Eminem for sure. But no, not
Okay.
I train with music all the time. Like,
Yeah.
and if I want to lock in to do some efforts, like I definitely have some loud, whether it's like Eminem or like that kind of stuff, or dance stuff, but not one specific song. No.
Okay. Did you have music? Were you on music the whole time coming across Australia, or did you listen to some podcasts and stuff?
A couple of podcasts, but the thing was I was on a time trial bike, and it's quite hard to like do other things other than just ride fast. So I wasn't like really on my phone at all. I was just like, funny story. I was just listening to whatever came in the queue, and on like the second to last morning, it was like 2 a.m. or something, and I'm like in the middle of nowhere. It's raining. My ass at this point is completely like excruciating. Just at a bad time. Like we're very deep into this thing, maybe 3,500 kilometers, more than 2,000 miles for sure. And Dylan's podcast came on, and
Monk Bros.
and it got to a point where they were talking about me and doing this right across Australia, and I think Drew I think was like talking shit on how like what an idiot, like why did because I fell behind because the wind was so epic.
You had a headwind the whole time.
It was brutal, and and it was like, like why didn't he just wait for the better wind, or like why is he doing that? He's gonna ruin his season or whatever. And I'm like, fuck you guys, like I'm out here like, and then they were like, oh, is he doing it on a time trial bike? And then I was like, am I crazy for doing this on a time? Like my like I'm so sore, like everything hurts. Maybe I was wrong. So yeah, that was funny anyway. It was like quite a bad time to hear that kind of banter.
It's all good. That's funny. Okay, so at the very beginning of this interview, I sent you a start line photo from Gravel Worlds that I took. I didn't even realize I was taking it. I was just getting start line stuff, and you are cleaning off your glasses on photographer Tilly Scholl's shirt. And that leads me to this music question. There's a lot of music played at these races at the start line. Zach Calton said the other day in his interview, it's a little much because you're like kind of blurry-eyed. It's 5:45 in the morning. You got a lot of caffeine in you, but you're not awake. And then they're playing like Crazy Train or Thunderstruck at the line. So is there like a song for you that you're like, oh, okay, it's time to go because they're playing this song and we know it's go time?
I mean, Thunderstruck for sure. I think they were playing something like that.
Yes.
At the start, which I think is awesome. Like I was like, let's go. We're actually going. And there was a bit of tension because I think the rain overnight, and everyone's like, what are we about to? It's like we're going into like, the trenches. It's going to be epic, and
pitch black too at Gravel Worlds.
Yeah, I like that kind of shit. I think it like builds the tension, and I didn't do that many World Cups, but I did a couple of years, and they used to play like the heartbeat thing on the start line, but that was too much because it was like, I'm actually going to be like in a few seconds, my heart rate's going to be 200 or through the roof, and this is the hardest I'm going to go all year. Whereas gravel racing, it's more like I guess you roll out a bit more and it's a bit less
Yeah.
hectic. But yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, one more on music. There's kind of a running joke that the Holy Spirit of Gravel and I are going to host an activation in Emporia at Unbound, and it's going to be a karaoke night. And if this imaginary event were to happen, I've never met an Australian who doesn't know how to party, so I assume you would know how to party at this thing. But what song are you going to sing for us at this imaginary event?
Oh. Some kind of rap, I think. When I do long pushes, I get into like one song,
Sure.
and like on the bike, and I play it in my ears, and I'm like, okay, by the end of the ride, I'm gonna know every lyric. I'm gonna be able to like rap this song. I've done like some Eminem ones, which are pretty hard because he's pretty good. Yeah, so probably like some kind of Eminem or rap or something like that.
Okay. All right. So this is you're a Silka athlete. I work for Silka in a freelance role with video. This is the Silka sponsored question, and that is the night before a race, not before your ride across Australia, but the night before a normal race, whether it's like a Lifetime race or Gravel Worlds or whatever. What are you doing to your bike to make sure it's ready?
Hopefully nothing because we have the mechanic in the house.
Sure.
Paige, our giant live mechanic, who's awesome. But when I'm here, it's on me, and I guess it's probably like making sure my spares are all ready to go, like taping plugs around the place, and checking getting the spares like locked down, and I know where everything is, and I think that's like the part that I always try and make a good effort for, because unfortunately I've needed them more than I'd like lately.
Well, sometimes that happens. Okay, so this is one I've saved just for you, and I've been saving it for a couple weeks, knowing we were going to potentially talk. How gleeful and happy were you to hear that drop bars have been banned at Leadville?
I mean, so the first year that I remember sitting down with Chemo and Dylan actually at Leadville like 2 years ago, I think, and he said there is no way we will ever ban or like regulate what kind of handlebars you use at Leadville. And I was like, oh, well, turns out there is a way. I don't know. For me, I used the drop bar Anthem last year, and I thought it was awesome. But it's nice to not have to like put another whole you can just ride your mountain bike. Like if you build a drop bar bike, and I actually ended up building mine like the week of the race because I switched from a hardtail, and it was fine. But like it's another bike, you're like, oh, I need to spend time on my drop bar full suspension because Leadville's coming up, or I need to like tweak this or work on the setup or change the position. So for me, it's just way more simple, and especially like logistically traveling and stuff, like it can get a little bit hectic with bikes here and there. So I think, I think it's a good move, and I think it's just easier. I don't think it affects the racing. I think, I mean, we all know what happens there anyway. So
yeah. Yep. Okay. So my last question is a little bit more serious. You've shared a lot of your story, and so much of what you've shared today is extremely inspiring. Whether it's dealing with the mental health stuff or being a parent, or even just navigating like a job that you didn't really like and moving to something you love. So my last question I always ask people is, who inspires you?
I don't know. Not one person for sure.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, like great athletes I'm inspired by, and like, but I think I'm more of a like I take bits and pieces from all the people that I've met and interacted with, or seen, like watched or spectated on over the years, and that's like whether they're just a mate or someone really exceptional in their field. I think, yeah, definitely not one person, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know who inspires me. It's stuff. Someone asked me that at a function the other week, and I didn't have an answer either. I said my daughter, because like
Yeah.
the way she can just happily enjoy every moment, no matter what's sort of going on. I think, to me, that's inspiring or refreshing. Or
Yeah.
so I don't have one person, but yeah, that's probably a shitty answer, but
No, it's great.
yeah.
It's great. It's great. This conversation has been fantastic, man, and I just appreciate you coming on and talking about your story and talking about the hard parts of your story too, and just being the light you are. And I'm excited to get to just be around more this year, especially in the Grand Prix, and see what you're doing, because it's inspiring, man.
Thanks. Yeah, I mean, I think these conversations are nice to have, and like I think, like, when I took on this thing, the ride across the country, it was with a mantra of like challenge myself and inspire others to do the same. And for sure, I mean, I know that happened because people were coming out of the woodwork in random spots in anywhere in Australia, and telling me that to my face. So
Yeah.
that's really nice to hear and to see, and I hope more conversations can even do the same. So no, it's a pleasure.
Thanks for hanging out with Brendan and me today. And I want to start off by saying, first of all, if you found yourself while listening to this interview relating to a lot of the things Brendan was talking about, or maybe even just a few of the things he was talking about related to mental health, go and seek some help. There are some resources in the description of the episode, no matter where you're finding the episode, of places that you can go and get more help and talk to somebody that you might need to talk to in the immediacy if you have something you want to talk to right away. And even better, you have people around you who, I promise you, care about you so much more than you would ever believe. And they want to see the best version of you. So if you are struggling, I would encourage you to reach out to them and tell them how you're feeling. It might seem super awkward, or it might seem scary, but I can tell you the best version of you is on the other side of asking for help. Now, if you were listening to the episode and you thought, hey, I know somebody that might relate to this or might really enjoy this episode, this is one to share. If there's ever been an episode to share that could really impact people's lives, this is one to share with them. And so I do ask you to please do that. Number one, it helps the show grow, but more importantly, this show exists exactly for episodes like this that are real, they're real life, they're for dads especially who are trying to deal with life and maybe struggling with mental health. So if you know somebody, please do share it. I am so glad that you have found the pod, that you have been here, whether this is your first time or your 93rd or whatever episode this is. I do hope you have an amazing week. I hope you can get outside and get some exercise and enjoy nature. But as always, most importantly, I hope you remember that you are loved.